Welcome to P4 Week 23 Math Worksheet Review. Well, I'm glad you're here. Since you're still P4, you still have a long way to go till PSLE. So, I hope that through these videos, you can adopt my mathematical thinking process and hence be better at me in mathematics. Well, there will be a motivational video upcoming. See you after the motivational video.
What if I told you there's a way to ace your exams with confidence? In the next few seconds, you'll learn key strategies to conquer your next test. First, trust in your preparation. You've studied hard and it shows. Stay focused and avoid distractions. Take each question one step at a time. Your hard work and determination will pay off. Remember, stress can be your enemy. Take deep breaths and stay calm. Pace yourself and manage your time wisely. You're capable of amazing things. Believe in yourself and your abilities. Go out there and do your best.
Let's first welcome you to P4 Week 23 worksheet. I'm glad you're watching this video. And without further ado, let's just get started. So first question, what is the value of digit 6 in 19635? So we have to understand that 5 is in the ones place, 3 is in the tens place, 6 is in the hundreds place, which means the digit 6 stands for 600. So answer is option 2. Next question. Which of the following numbers is 48000 when rounded to its nearest 100? So let's round off each and every options. So for the very first option, if you were to round off to nearest 100, what you need to do is to first underline the hundreds place, which is your 5. To the left of 5, you keep all the digits, and to the right of your 5, you would put zeros. So replace all the digits with zeros. So the only number that you would change is this hundreds place. So it's either you round it down or you round it up and you'll become 6. So when do you round it down and when do you round it up? You actually have to point an arrow to the neighbor next door on the right. So the neighbor on the right. Just remember, right is always right. So if your neighbor is very huge, you have to round up. So in this case, the rounded value is 48600. What is considered a very big neighbor will be digits like 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. What is considered a very small neighbor will be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this one you will round up, so you will round down. And just to clarify, the meaning of round down just means that the number is kept the same. Okay, now we will move on to option 2. So for this option 2, 48439. So firstly, underline the hundreds place. To the left, you will keep. To the right, you'll put zeros. So the only number that will be changed is this digit 4 here. So it will either be 4 or 5. And it's actually dependent on the neighbor on the right. So since the neighbor is small, we will keep the 4. So answer will be 48400. Next, we'll look at so let me just write it down properly. So this one will be rounded to this. This will be rounded to this. Now let's look at option 3. So same thing, underline the hundreds place, point it to the right. So to the left of the hundreds place, you keep. To the right of the hundreds place, you put 0. So this one will either be 9 or 10. And since the neighbor is this digit 5 over here, which is super huge, you have to round up, right? So it become 10, which means you have to plus 1 here. So it becomes 48000. So let me just erase things. Put it up here. And you got your answer. So actually option 2 will be rounded to 48000 when you round it off to nearest 100. Next, find the product of 2, 0, 4, 1, and 6. So product means, correct, multiply. So you have to do this, do it with me. So first will be 1 times 6, it should give you 6. Next will be 4 times 6, it should give you 24. Next will be 0 times 6, which should give you 0. But don't forget this plus 2, so it becomes 2. And last but not least is 2 times 6, which should give you 12. Hence, answer should be option 3. Next, divide 1407 by 7. So you can write down the multiples of 7 at the side to help yourself. Okay, so firstly, can 1 be divided by 7? Nope, so we'll put 0, carry the 4 down, and you get 14. So 14 divided by 7 gives you 2. So minus 14, carry down a 0. 0 cannot divide by 7, so we'll put 0 there, minus 0. Now, we carry down a 7. So now 7 divided by 7 gives you 1. And you should have no remainder. And answer should be option 2, 201. Question 5. 8 meter 8 cm is equals to how many cm? So before we do this question, can you please tell me 1 meter is equals to how many cm? Good, it's 100 cm. Which means 8 meter will just be 100 times 8, which is 800 cm. So now we can replace this 8 meter with 800 cm. So 800 cm plus another 8 cm should give you 808 cm. Hence answer should be option 2. Next, the area of the rectangle is 96 cm squared. Find its length. So before we embark on this question, can you tell me the formula for area of rectangle? Yep, it should be length times breadth. So in this case, we got the breadth here, we got the area here. We just have to find out what the length is, which is the question mark. So length times breadth give you the area. So in order to find this question mark, we just have to do the reverse of multiplication, right? Which will be division group. So to find the question mark, which is the length, we just have to take 96 divided by 8. And that should give you 12. Hence answer is option 1. Next, what is the length of the arrow as shown below? So you are given a ruler, they ask you to find the arrow, the length of the arrow. So we look at the start point, we look at the end point. To find the length, we just take the end point minus the start point. So before we do that, let's find out what one interval is. So there are 5 gaps in between, which means that 5 cm is 5 gaps, and that's why 1 gap equals to 1 cm. So here is 11, and hence the starting point should be 12. Here's 26, 27, 28, and hence the end point should be 29. Good. So remember what we said? Take the end point minus the start point, and hence the length of the arrow is simply 17 cm. Hence answer is option 2. Next, in the figure, ABCD is a rectangle. Find angle W. So for this question, you have to recall the properties of a rectangle, and one of which is that the corners are all right angle, and right angle means it's 90 degrees, which means that these 3 angles should also add up to 90 degrees. So to find angle W, we just have to take the sum minus the other two angles. So that should give you 21 degrees. Hence answer is option 3. Next, where's the missing number in the box? So from 7 to 56, we have 2 times 8. So if the bottom times 8, the top also need 2 times 8, which means 3 times 8 will give you 24. Hence answer is option 2. Next, Jamie had 3/4 meter of ribbon. She used 1/8 meter to tie a box. What is the length of the ribbon left? So starting is 3/4, you use up. Means you have less now, right? Which means that you have to subtract. So take whatever you have, you subtract whatever you use, and that will equate to whatever you have left. But something should stand out to you by now, which is that the denominator is not the same. So let's find a common denominator. To find a common denominator, you just have to find the lowest common multiple. So these are your 4 times table and your 8 multiplication table. So 4, 8, 12, so on, 8, 16, and so on. And the number that appears on both sides is actually your 8. So common denominator is 8. So to make 4 become 8, 2 times 2. Bottom times 2, top also must times 2. So 3 times 2 give you 6, 4 times 2 give you 8. So now you have 6 over 8 minus 1 over 8. Since the denominator is the same now, so you get to keep the denominator. And numerator is simply 6 minus 1, which is 5. So answer will be option. Next, the perimeter of a rectangle is 32 cm. It is 8 times of its breadth. This 8 refers to the perimeter. And they ask you, what is the length of the rectangle? So we have this rectangle over here. They tell you the perimeter adds up to 32 cm. What is perimeter? Can you try to recall? Yep, it just means the summation of all the sides. So if you just add up all the sides, you get the perimeter. They tell you the perimeter is 8 times of its breadth, which means if the perimeter is 8 units, the breadth must be 1 unit. So we are given that the breadth is 1 unit here and 1 unit here, which means the length will be, correct, will be 8 unit minus 1 unit minus 1 unit, which equates to 6 units, and then you divide it by 2, and that should give you 3 units. So the length here is 3 units and the length here is 3 units. And if you plus them all together, you should get back 8 units. And they tell you then they also told you that the perimeter is 32 cm. So we can equate this 8 unit to be 32 cm. So this 1 unit will just be 32 divided by 8. It should give you 4. And the question is asking for length. So we also found out that the length is 3 units. So we just have to find out what 3 unit is, which is simply 4 times 3. That should give you 12 cm. And hence answer is option 3. Next, they ask you to find the sum of all the common factors of 9 and 18. Well, before we can find what common factors are, we have to find out what the factors are. So let's list out the factors of 9 and 18. For 9, just be 1 times 9 and 3 times 3. For 18, it will be 1 times 18, 2 times 9, and 3 times 6. So now what's common? Common means it has to appear on both sides. So 1 is common, 3 is common, and 9 is also common. Well, that's not it. You still have to sum them up. And sum in this case means plus. So we'll just add 1 plus 3 plus 9. And that should give you 13. Hence, answer is option 4. Next, there are how many common multiples of 6 and 8 that are smaller than 15? So same thing, before we can find out what are the common multiples, we have to find out the multiples of 6 and 8. So let's list out the multiplication table of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 26, 42, 48, 54. And for 8, be 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56. So we just have to find those that are smaller than 50. So this one is out, this one is out. So let's find out what is common. Common means it has to appear in both the 6 multiplication table and 8 multiplication table. So the first one that stands out to me is 24, followed by 48. So how many common multiples are there? There are 2. Next, Mr. Lim bought 5, 6, 8 boxes of oranges. Each box contained 28 oranges. How many oranges did he buy in all? So one box contained 28 oranges. And since he bought 5, 6, 8 boxes of it, it means that he has a lot of oranges, right? Which means it will just be 5, 6, 8 times 28. It's times because you're having a lot. So in the end, the numbers will be huge. If you divide it, the numbers will be super small and it won't make sense. So answer will just be 5, 6, 8 times 28. So to do this, do the 8 multiplication first. So 8 times 8, 64. 6 times 8, 48. Plus this 6, 54. Next, 5 times 8, 40. Don't forget to plus this 5, so 45. Now we'll do it for the 2 instead. But before you do it, remember your 0. So 8 times 2, 16. 6 times 2, 12. Remember to plus 1, so 13. Next, 5 times 2, 10. Remember to plus 1, so 11. Now just add these 2 rows now. With 4. 4 plus 6 is 10, so carry the 1 over. 5 plus 3 plus 1 give you 9. 4 plus 1 give you 5. So 1 will be 1. So 1, 5, 9, 0, 4. Hence answer is option 4. Next, ribbon X is 2/3 meters long. It is 1/6 meter longer than ribbon Y. What is the length of ribbon Y? So we are given X is 2/3 meter long. And this it refers to X. So X is longer and Y is shorter. Which means that to find Y, we have to take 2/3 minus 1/6. So something should stand out to you, or is like super glaring, which is that the denominator is not the same. So to make denominator the same, we have to find the lowest common multiple between 3 and 6. Between multiplication table of 3 and multiplication table of 6. So multiplication table of 3 is 3, 6, 9, and go on. And for 6, it will be 6, 12, something, something, something. And the lowest common multiple is 6. So let's make denominator 6. To make 3 become 6, you times 2. Since you times 2 the bottom, let's do the same to the top. So 2 times 2 give you 4. And you get to keep the 1 out of 6. So this should give you 3 out of 6. You get to keep the denominator. You get to keep the denominator because the denominator is the same. And this one can be further simplified by dividing top and bottom by 3. So it should give you half in the end. Okay, but the option did not simplify it, so we can keep it as option 3. Next, arrange the numbers in order. Begin with the greatest. So the first number should be the greatest, or the last number should be the smallest. So we'll compare the first digit first. So we can see that 6 is bigger than 3. So these two are the biggest for now. Now let's slowly compare the second digit. They are the same, but the third digit is where they differ. And since 6 is bigger than 0, we'll put this first, followed by 63002. Now let's compare the other two numbers. So this and this. So first digit is the same, second digit is the same, third digit is where they differ. And since 6 is bigger than 0, that's the next greatest number. And followed by 36062. Next, the perimeter of a rectangle is 84 cm. Its breadth is 12 cm. Find the length of the rectangle. So we agreed just now that perimeter means you sum up. Means you sum up all the sides, right? So here is 12, means here is 12. So 12 plus this length over here and this length over here will give you 84 cm. Which means to find the length, is to take 84 minus both the breadth, and don't forget to divide it by 2. So that should be 30 cm. So 2 lengths is 60 cm. Hence 1 length is 60 divided by 2, which is 30 cm. Next, find the sum of 700 and 109. Round the answer to its nearest tens. So sum means plus. So we just have to plus them out first. Should give you 809. Second part asks you to round it off to nearest 10. So underline the 10. To the left of 0, you will keep. To the right of 0, it will always be 0. So the only number that you need to change is this. So it will either be 0 or 1. And it's dependent on the neighbor next door to the right. And since your neighbor is very big, your neighbor is number 9, right? Which means you have to round up. So you round up to become 810. So answer is 810. Next, what is the length of the square? So what's so special about square is that all sides are the same, which means this 49 is a square number. So what's a square number? These are all square numbers. Let me just write it down. So the numbers you see here are what we call square numbers. Because two of the same number can be multiplied to give you this number. So if you look at this 49 over here, and we look at this 49 over here, 49 is 7 times 7, which means that the side or the length of the square is 7. Because 7 times 7 gives you 49. So here's also 7, here's also 7. Hence answer is 7 cm. Next, measure angle P. Well, I don't really have the protractor with me. Well, I can't really put a protractor on this platform, so I'll skip this. Next, what is the mass of the box? So let's find out what one gap means first. So between 0 and 1, there are actually 5 gaps. And just note that this is in kg. And can you remind me 1 kg is how many grams? Good. 1 kg is 1000 grams. And if you look at here, 5 gaps give you 1 kg, which is 1000 grams. So let's find out what 1 gap means first. So 1 gap is just 1000 divided by 5, which should give you 200 grams. Which means here is 2 kg and 200 grams. Here is 2 kg and 400 grams. Here is 2 kg and 600 grams. Which means here over, this guy over here is 2 kg and 800 grams. So answer is 2 kg and 800 grams. Next, in the figure, PQST is a square, angle RTS is 18 degrees, and they ask you to find PTR, so question mark is here. So let's recall, the corners of a square is a right angle, which means these two will add up to 90 degrees. And to find PTR, which is what we want, which is the question mark, you just have to take the sum, which is 90 degrees, minus the other small angle. And this should give you 72 degrees. Next, the bar graph shows the number of books borrowed by pupils in the class. Use the information and answer questions 23 and 24. Question 23 asks how many pupils were there in the class? Well, let's label our bar graph first. So how do you label your bar graph is you just use a ruler, trace it all the way to the left. So you can see this is 4. Same thing goes for this. Trace it all the way to the left. This is 12. Trace it. Here will be 9 because it's in between 10 and 8. And one interval is 1. This is 1, 3. So just remember that for this type of question, the interval is like constant. So you won't skip interval, like you'll be consistent throughout. For instance, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You won't be like 1, then 5, then 10, then like 11 next. There will be no intervals like this. Next, this guy will be 5, and last but not least, this guy will be 7. Great, now that it's all labeled, we can answer the questions. So let me just erase to make things a little bit neater. So how many pupils were there in the class? So your vertical axis tells you the number of pupils, and the horizontal axis tells you the number of books borrowed by each pupil. So how do you read this bar graph, right? Is that 4 pupils actually read 0 books each. So imagine you got like 4 people. The first guy read 0 book, second. So just imagine you got 4 people. The first person borrowed 0 book, second person borrowed 0 book, third person borrowed 0 book, and the last person also borrowed 0 books. Then for this guy over here, there's another 12 students who borrowed 1 book each. So the next 12 students, for example, the 5th student borrowed 1 book, 6th student borrowed 1 book, and so on. So this is what the bar graph means. Okay. So now how many pupils were there? You just have to sum up. Just plus this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So 4 plus 12 plus 9 plus 5 plus 7. That should give you 37. And how many books were borrowed by the pupils in the class? So like what I was saying earlier, 4 pupils borrowed 0 books each. 12 pupils borrowed 1 book each. 9 pupils borrowed 2 books each. 5 pupils borrowed 3 books each. And 7 pupils borrowed 4 books each. So this is how you calculate the total number of books. So 4 times 0 gives you 0. 12 times 1 gives you 12. 9 times 2 gives you 18. 5 times 3 gives you 15. And 7 times 4 gives you 28. So just sum them up, you should get 73. Next, Mrs. Tan had 12 apples and 15 oranges. She wanted to put some apples and oranges in a box. In all boxes, there were equal number of apples and equal number of oranges. What was the least number of boxes needed to put all the fruits when there were no leftovers? So this one, we just have to find the common factor. So let's list out the factors of 12 and 15. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. For 15, 1 times 15, 3 times 5. So the number that appears on both sides, there is not 1, is your 3, which means that there's 3 boxes. This 12 is for apples. This 15 is for oranges. It also means that there's 4 apples in each box and 5 oranges in each box. This is oranges, not 0. So what was the least number of boxes? It's 3. So that there's no leftovers. Okay, so next, find the parameter of the figure. So parameter means you add up all the sides, right? So we have to find out what this side is and find out what this side is. Let's do step by step. So to find out this side here, we just have to take 11 plus 2. It should give you 13. Now, let's find this side over here. And that should be 3 plus 13. That should give you 16. So now that you have all the sides, we just have to add them up. So the ones that I circle will be the ones that you add up. 16 plus 13 plus 13 plus 2 plus 3 plus 11. So I'll just write it down here. That should give you 58. Next, Mrs. Lee had $6,790. She distributed this money equally to her 9 family members. What was the remaining amount of money after the distribution? So this woman has 9 other family members. Then she wants to give them or distribute $6,790 equally. Then she has some remaining money. And they ask you to find what's the remainder. So we will just take 6,790 divided by 9 and find out what the remainder is. So 6 cannot divide by 9. We'll put 0. Carry down to 7, becomes 67. 9 times 7 equals 63. So you have a remainder of 4. Carry down to 9. Next, it will be 9 times 5, which gives you 45. 49 minus 45 gives you 4. Carry down to 0, you have 40. Last but not least, 9 times 4 gives you 36. 40 minus 36 gives you remainder of 4. So Mrs. Lee has a remainder of $4. So our answer is $4. And what this 754 means, it just means that each family member will receive 754. Next, study the pattern below and find the missing number. So from here to here, you plus 9900. From here to here, we plus 9900. So we follow a pattern from here to here. We naturally have to plus 9900. So just plus 9900. You should get 70698. Next, there are 3 squares, P, Q, and R. The length of square R is twice the length of square Q. The length of square Q is twice the length of square P. And they ask you to find the area of square P. So what's so special about squares is that all sides are the same. So we are given that if this length is 1 unit, the length of Q is twice of P, which means here will be 2 units, 2 units. And length of R is twice of Q. So twice of Q means 2 units times 2, which will give you 4 units. So now if we focus on this base over here, if we add 1 unit plus 2 unit plus 4 unit, we get 28 cm, right? So 1 unit plus 2 unit plus 4 unit, we get 7 unit. And this 7 unit equates to 28 cm. So naturally, we want to find out what 1 unit is, which will just be 28 divided by 7, and that gives you 4. To find the area of square P, can you first give me the formula of area of square? It will just be length times breadth. Square P is this small guy over here. The length is 1 unit, which is 4 cm. The base is also 1 unit, which is 4 cm. So it will just be 4 cm times 4 cm, which will give you 16 cm squared. So answer is 16 cm squared. Next, the square grid shows the plan of a school. The canteen is located at the east of the bookshop. In which direction is the library from the Tinkering Courtyard? So you are given a compass here. Sometimes the compass can be tilted, so just have to follow the compass that was drawn. So if here is north, there is south, this will be on the right, this will be on the left. So north, south, east, west. So in which direction is the library from the Tinkering Court? From here. So you have to draw the compass at the Tinkering Court. So this is your compass. North, south, east, west. And where's the library? Library is here, right? So library is in between north and east. So we call this north, east. So north, east. Next, each letter in the following sum represents a digit. Find the digits that are represented by these letters. Okay, so for A over here, A plus 4 give you something like 2. So we can kind of imagine that it should be 12, right? And that's why you carry the 12 or carry the 1 over. Can it be 22? That's not possible because even if A is 9, and if you take 9 plus 4, it will give you a maximum of 13, which means that the only possible case is that A plus 4 give you 12. Then you carry the plus 1 over. So A must be 8. So 8 plus 4 will give you 12. So let's replace all our A with 8. So now 5 plus 1 plus B give you 2. And the only possible case is that it becomes 12. Because even if B is 9, the maximum that you can get is 15. You can never reach 22. That's not possible. So the only possible option for this is that it becomes 12. Then we carry a 1 over. So to find out what B is, so 1 plus 5 plus B give you 12. So to find out what B is, you just have to push the 1 and 5 over to the right hand side. And when you move it over, it will become minus. Because here is plus, so when you shift it over, the sign will be the opposite of it. So B is just 12 minus 1 minus 5. Should give you 6. So now we found out that B is 6. And we can check with this column over here. So 1 plus 8 plus 6 give you 15. And that's why you have 15 over here. Hence, A is 8 and B is 6. Next, arrange the fractions from the greatest to the smallest. So here will be the smallest. So one thing should stand out, which is that the denominator is not the same. So let's make it the same. These are all your multiplication table. And you'll find out that the lowest common multiple is 12. So let's make everything 12. So for 6 to become 12, you times 2. Bottom times 2, do it for the top also. 5 times 2 give you 10. We get to keep the 7. And for this 4, to make it become 12, so times 3. Since we do it to the bottom, let's do it to the top too. So 3 times 3 give you 9. So now we can clearly see which one is the greatest and which one is the smallest. This one, greatest. And the smallest is this guy over here. When you write down the answer, please remember to use the original numbers. So greatest is 5 out of 6. Smallest is 7 out of 12. Hence the remaining number will be right smack in the middle. Next is to draw your angle. Unfortunately, I don't have a protractor with me on this iPad. So just note that 110 degrees is an obtuse angle. So if your angle looks something like that, it'll be wrong. It should look something like that. Obtuse angle means that it's actually bigger than 90 degrees. Okay. 34. Both light bulbs A and B light up at the same time. After that, light bulb A lights up every 6 minutes and light bulb B lights up every 8 minutes. When will both light bulbs A and B next light up together? So we have light bulb A and light bulb B. So light bulb A lights up every 6 minutes. So during the 6 minutes, you'll blink or light up. During the 12 minutes, you'll light up. 18 minutes, light up. 24 minutes, light up. 30 minutes, 30th minute also light up. 36th minute also light up. Same goes for B, but in this case, it lights up every 8 minutes. So during the 8th minute, it lights up 16, 24, so on. So the next time it lights up together, it will actually be 24 minutes later, since 24 appears on both sides. So answer is 24. Next, Mr. Tan has more than 15 pens. If he bundles them in 3s, he will have 2 pens left. If he bundles them in 8s, he will have 3 pens left. What is the smallest number of pens he has? So bundle in 3s. So let's list out the multiple of 3. Then you have to plus 2 to all the multiples of 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36. So plus 2 to everything. So 3 plus 2 gives you 5, 6 plus 2 gives you 8, so on. Let's do the same for the next scenario, which is that if bundle them in 8, you have 3 pens left. So find out the multiples of 8, and you add 3 to all the multiples of 8. So plus 3. So let's find out what appears in this row and this row. So we can see that 27 appears on both sides. And hence the answer is 27. And it also fulfills the very first condition, which is that it is more than 15. Next up, Mrs. Wong used 1040 grams of flour to bake a blueberry cheesecake. After baking 6 blueberry cheesecakes of similar masses, she had 2122 grams of flour left. How much flour did she use to bake 6 blueberry cakes, and how much flour did she have at first? So let's do part A. So, to bake 1 blueberry cheesecake, she needs 1040 grams of flour. So in order to bake 6 blueberry cheesecakes, she will need 1040 times 6 amount of flour. That should give you 6240 grams. Now let's move on to part B. How much flour did she have at first? So you were given what was used. So she used up this, and you were given what was left. So to find out how much she had at first, you just have to add up whatever she has left plus whatever she used. So there will just be 6240, what she used, plus what she left, which is 2122. So in the end, you should get 8362 grams of flour at first. So part A is 6240, part B is 8362 grams. Good. Next, Tom had 88 more stamps than Sally at first, and Tom had 36 more stamps than Sally after he gave her some of his stamps. How many stamps did Tom give to Sally? So it's a must to draw a model. So we have two characters, we have Tom and Sally. Tom had 88 more stamps than Sally at first, so that's your model. After that, Tom decided to give some of it to Sally. So this was what was given. So they are the same thing. I'll just do it in blue. So I also can trace it out. After Tom gave some stamps to Sally, Tom has 36 more than Sally. So let me just highlight this is blue because they're the same thing. So can you see that these two blue parts plus 36 if you 88, and one blue part was how much Tom gave to Sally, which means to find out how many stamps Tom gave to Sally, you just have to take 88 minus 36, and then don't forget to divide it by 2. So answer will be 26. Next, Nick bought $1085 worth of t-shirts at $7 each. Some t-shirts had defects and needed to be thrown away. He sold the rest at $9 each and collected $1215. How many t-shirts did he throw away? So let's find out how many t-shirts he bought first. Number of t-shirts bought. So he bought $1085 worth of t-shirts, right? And each t-shirt is $7 each. So if I want to help you visualize, each shirt cost him $7 and he spent $1085 on it. Which means how many t-shirts he bought? Let me just write it properly. He bought 1085 divided by 7 number of shirts, right? And there is 155 shirts. Great. So now, then they told you out of these 155 t-shirts, some needed to be thrown away because there were defects. So how many t-shirts were thrown? We don't know, but we know the number of t-shirts that were sold. So those that were sold were those in good conditions. So number of t-shirts without defects is actually what divided by what. So we'll look at this sentence over here. He sold the rest of the t-shirts that were in good conditions, means without defects, at $9 each, and he collected 1215, which means he sold 1215 divided by 9 number of shirts, and that is 135, which means how many shirts did he throw away? He threw away, so number of shirts thrown would just be the number of t-shirts bought minus those without defects, right? So there will be 20. So 20 t-shirts were the one with defects, and that's why it has to be thrown away. The next question, 38. Mandy used a total of 48 small and big boxes to contain 256 cupcakes. Each small box had 4 cupcakes, and each big box had 8 cupcakes. How many big boxes did he use? Okay, so there's like 2 methods to this. One is your usual guess and check. And there's another method, which is what I'm going to show you now. I don't really have a name for it, but let's try to do it. So in total, there are 48 small and big boxes. So, and they ask you to find the number of big boxes that she used. So I will let all 48 boxes use. be small boxes. There's a reason why I let it be small boxes first, and I'll tell you the reason later. So if you let all 48 boxes be small boxes, and each small box can contain 4 cupcakes. Small box, 4 cupcakes, which means 48 small box can contain 4 times 48 cupcakes. And that should give you 192 cupcakes. So now we'll find a big difference, which is that we are supposed to contain 256 cupcakes, but now you only can contain 192. So this is what we call the big difference, because the numbers are usually huge. So 256 minus 192. That should give you 64. Then after that, we will take the small difference. What is the small difference? It's actually the difference in the number of cupcakes that a small box and a big box can contain. So small box can contain 4, big box can contain 8. So the small difference is 8 minus 4, which is 4. And when you take the big difference divided by small difference, you actually find the number of big boxes used. Just big difference divided by small difference. And that should give you 16. So why did I let the 48 boxes be small boxes at first, right? It's because in the end, you get to find the big boxes first. So if you started off with all big boxes, the first number that you find is actually the number of small boxes. So you need another step, which is the subtraction. Take 48 minus the number of small boxes in order to find the number of big boxes. So that's just something for you to know. So the answer for this question is just 16. Next, page A, B, C, and D are 4 consecutive pages in the book. Page A and page B are 2 facing pages in the book. Page C and page D are the next 2 facing pages on the same book. The sum of all these 4 pages is 326. What is the page number for page D? So what they are trying to say is that if this is a book, this is page A, this is page B, you flip the book, this will be page C, and this will be page D. So if page A is page 1, page B will be page 2, C will be 3, D will be 4. This is just for instance, like an example of what's happening. But they are telling you that the sum is actually 326, which means that what we can do is we can draw a model. So we have A, B, C, and D. We don't know what A is, but we can let it be 1 unit. B will be 1 more than this 1 unit, because B is the next page of A, so it's just a +1. And C will be 1 more than B, because it's just the next page. And D will be 1 more than your C. And total, we are told that is 326. Okay, my handwriting, I'll just write it a little bit better. This is unit, unit, unit. These are all ones. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Hence, can you see that in order to find 4 units, we just have to take 326 minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. So 4 units, just 326 minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. And that should give you 320. So 1 unit will just be 320 divided by 4. And that should give you 80. Which means that A is 80. B is 80 plus 1, which is 81. So now we can have the numbers, right? So A is page 80, B is 81, C is 82, and D is 83. So what's the page number for D? It's actually 83. So D is just 80 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 83. That's your answer. Next, Mr. Wong had a rectangular plot of land measuring 27 meter times 9 meter. He decided to build a path around a pond. Find the area of the path. Okay, so they want to find the area of the shaded figure, basically. So how you do that is you must take the area of the big rectangle minus the area of the small rectangle. Okay, so let's find the area of the big rectangle first. So area of big rectangle is just, the formula is length times breadth, which in this case is just 27 times 9. That should give you 243. Now, how do we find this area of the small rectangle? Same formula, right? So it's still length times breadth. But we just have to find out what the length and what the breadth is. So to find out this guy over here, we have to take 27 minus 4 minus 4. So 27 minus 4 minus 4. That should give you 19. What about this green guy over here? So let me just erase things. The green guy over here is just 9 minus 2 minus 2. That should give you 5. So now we got the length and the breadth. So length is 19. Breadth is 5. That should give you 95. So now we can find the area of the shaded figure. It's just the area of the big rectangle minus the area of the small rectangle. So area of shaded figure, just the big one minus the small one. And that should give you 148 meter square. So I'll just write it down here, 148. Great. Next. Alice and Betty had an equal number of stickers after Alice bought another 222 stickers and Betty gave away 14 stickers. Alice had 3 times as many stickers as Betty. How many stickers did they have altogether at first? So for this type of question, it is a must to draw the model. So we have 2 characters, we have Alice, we have Betty. Initially, they had equal number, so let's draw them with equal sizes of model. Then Alice bought another 222. Bought 222. And Betty gave away 14. In the end, Alice have 3 units, while Betty only have 1 unit. So I can label 1 unit here, go out, here's 1 unit also, which means the remaining equates to 2 units. Because in total, Alice had 3 units in the end. Then this part over here is also equals to this part over here, which means they are both equals to 14. Great. So now we can work on it. So can you see that 2 unit actually equates to 14 plus 222? So 2 unit is 14 plus 222. And that should give you 236. And naturally, you would want to find out what 1 unit is, and that will just be 236 divided by 2. So that should give you 118. So 1 unit is 118. So at first, Betty had this much, right? At first, Betty had this much. So Betty had 118 plus 14. That should give you 132. And at first, Betty and Alice had the same number. So at first, the total number of stickers that both Betty and Alice have is just 132 plus another 132. So you can just say 132 times 2. So that's just 264. Great. So answer is 264. Hope everything is good. Next, ABCD is a square made out of 3 rectangles, F, G, and H. The area of the square is twice the area of rectangle F. The perimeter of rectangle F is 96 cm. The perimeter of rectangle F is 52 cm more than the perimeter of rectangle H. The breadth of rectangle H is 6 cm. Find the perimeter of the square and find the area of the square. Here we are given a very crucial information, which is that the perimeter of F is actually 96 cm. Why is this very important? Because we're also given that the area of the square is twice the area of rectangle F. Which means this guy over here is half of the entire figure. And you also know that what's so special about square is that all sides are the same. Which means that if AB is 2 units, this guy over here is also 2 units. Here is also 2 units. And here is also 2 units. And since F is half of the entire figure, which means here is 1 unit. Here is 2 units. And here is 1 unit. So perimeter just means add up all the sides, right? So if I add 2 units plus 1 unit plus 2 units plus 1 unit, I'll get 96 here. So 2 units plus 1 unit plus 2 units plus 1 unit gives you 6 units. And this 6 units will equate to 96 cm, which means 1 unit is just 96 divided by 6. And that should give you 16. Which means now we can replace this 1 unit with 16. And these 2 units, we can find it by multiplying 1 unit times 2. So there will be 16 times 2, which will give you 32. So we can start replacing all the numbers. Okay, great. So now we can also find this part. So we are given that this whole part is 32, and here is 6. So you can find out what this part is, and that will just be 32 minus 6. And that should give you 26. So here is 26, here is 26. Next, we also know that this is 16, this is 16. So we are getting a lot of information now. Let me just label it. In fact, we have all the information right now. So for part A, it asks you to find the perimeter of the square, which means you just have to add up all the sides, right? So 32, this whole thing is also 32, since all sides of a square are the same. Here's 32, here's also 32. So it will just be 32 times 4. That should give you 128 cm. Part B tells you to find the area of the square. So area of the square is just length times breadth. So it will just be 32 times 32. And that should give you 1024 cm squared. So part A is 128 cm, part B is 1024 cm squared. We are finally at our last question. I hope you are happy that you reached this far. The pattern shows the arrangement of rectangles and circles. Part A asks you, How many rectangles and circles are there in pattern 4? So let's draw pattern 4. So let's examine the first 3 patterns first, which is pattern 1 has 3 rectangles, pattern 2 has 4 rectangles, pattern 3 has 5 rectangles, which means pattern 4 should have 6 rectangles. Then there's always a circle in between the rectangle. So I'll draw a circle here. Great. Now we can fill it out. So pattern 4 should have 6 rectangles and 10 circles. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so then they ask you how many rectangles and circles are there in pattern 15. So we can write it down. So from here to here, we keep plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. From here to here, we keep plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So we can write it down. All these stuff I'll write down. So for pattern 5, there should be 7 rectangles and 12 circles. So I plus 1, so I plus 2. For 6 pattern, there should be 8 rectangles and 14 circles. For 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Just plus 1. We just here we'll just keep plus 2. So you reach your answer. It's just 17 and 32. And that's it. Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed this video and hope you have a great day ahead. See you.